Let me ask you something uncomfortable. When was the last time you felt truly alive? Not productive. Not busy. Alive. If your answer is, I don't remember, this video is about you. Most people don't fail in life. They succeed at living someone else's life. They wake up, check their phone, scroll, rush, work, consume content, sleep, repeat. And one day they wake up at 30, 40, 50 and realize, nothing here feels like mine. And the scary part, nobody forced them. They chose it silently, every single day. So let's do a simple test. It takes 5 minutes, and it might change how you see everything. Imagine this. Tomorrow you wake up, and nobody can judge you. No parents, no society, no algorithm, no expectations, no likes, no comments, no future pressure. Just you. Now answer this honestly. Would you still live the same day? Same job? Same routine? Same goals? If the answer is no, congratulations. You just discovered you're living on autopilot. Autopilot is when your life is driven by default settings. Settings you didn't choose. School taught you what success looks like. Social media taught you what happiness looks like. Other people taught you what's normal, and slowly, without noticing, you stopped asking what you want. And here's the trap. Autopilot feels safe. It feels fine. You're not miserable enough to quit, but not fulfilled enough to feel alive. So you stay, and years pass. People think they're tired, but they're not tired. They're bored of being someone they're not. Let me tell you something nobody says out loud. Motivation doesn't disappear when you're lazy. It disappears when your life has nothing to do with you. You don't lack discipline, you lack alignment. Alignment is when what you do matches who you are. And when there's no alignment, even simple things feel heavy. Waking up feels hard. Work feels pointless. Rest feels guilty. You scroll not because you enjoy it, but because it numbs you. Now here's another question. Answer it fast. Don't overthink it. If nobody ever knew what you did with your life, what would you do differently? Would you still chase the same goals? Would you still prove the same things? Would you still care so much about being seen? This question exposes the invisible cage. Most people don't want freedom. They want approval, and approval is expensive. You pay for it with your time, energy, and authenticity. The moment you start living for approval, you stop living for truth. And your body knows it. That's why anxiety appears. That's why you feel off for no reason. That's why silence feels uncomfortable. Because silence forces you to hear yourself. And here's the harsh truth. If you don't choose your life consciously, something else will choose it for you. Algorithms, fear, comfort, other people's opinions, and they don't care if you're happy. They only care if you stay predictable. So what do you do now? I'm not going to tell you to quit everything. That's unrealistic, and honestly, unnecessary. Real change starts smaller. First, notice resistance. What drains you daily but you keep doing because you should? That's a clue. Second, notice energy. What makes time disappear, even if you're bad at it? That's another clue. Third, create silence. Every day. Even 10 minutes, no phone, no music, no input. Just you and your thoughts. First it's uncomfortable. Then it's honest. And honesty is where your real life starts. This isn't about becoming special, it's about becoming real. And here's the most important thing. You don't need to find your purpose. You need to stop betraying yourself. The moment you stop doing things you hate just to be accepted, energy comes back. Clarity comes back. You come back. So ask yourself tonight, before you sleep, if my life stayed exactly the same for the next 5 years, would I be okay with that? If the answer scares you, good. Fear is better than numbness, because fear means you still care. And if you still care, it's not too late. Sometimes the scariest moment in life isn't failure. It's the quiet moment when nothing is technically wrong, but deep inside you feel empty. You wake up, you do what you're supposed to do, you talk to people, you scroll, you work, you sleep, and repeat. From the outside, your life looks normal. But inside, something feels off. Like you're living someone else's life. Like you took a wrong turn years ago and just kept walking. I want to talk about that feeling today. Because if you're watching this, there's a chance you've felt it too. That heavy thought late at night where you ask yourself, is this really it? Not in a dramatic way. Not crying on the floor. Just a quiet realization that your days are blending together and you're not becoming who you thought you'd be. Nobody prepares you for this phase of life. People talk about success and failure, but nobody talks about being stuck in between, where you're not failing hard enough to change and not succeeding enough to feel alive. That's the most dangerous place to be, because it slowly kills your ambition. You start lowering your expectations. You stop dreaming big, not because you don't want more, but because wanting more hurts. So you tell yourself you're fine. You say it is what it is. You distract yourself. You consume content. You wait for motivation to magically come back. But here's the truth most people don't want to hear. That feeling you're running from is actually a signal. It's not a weakness. It's your mind telling you that the life you're living doesn't match who you are anymore. And the reason it feels so uncomfortable is because deep down you know you're capable of more. The world teaches us to ignore that voice, to be grateful, to settle, to be realistic. But being realistic is often just another word for being afraid. Afraid of change. Afraid of losing what's familiar. Afraid of starting over and looking stupid. So we stay. We stay in jobs we hate, routines that drain us, relationships that feel empty. And we tell ourselves we'll change someday. But someday rarely comes. One of the hardest truths I've learned is this: clarity doesn't come from thinking. It comes from action. You can analyze your life for years and still feel lost. But the moment you move, even in the wrong direction, something shifts. Momentum creates clarity. Sitting still creates doubt. And yet, when you're lost, movement feels terrifying. Because what if you choose wrong again? What if you waste more time? What if you fail publicly? But ask yourself this: how much time are you already wasting by doing nothing? How many days have passed where you told yourself tomorrow would be different? Being lost doesn't mean you're broken. It means the old version of you doesn't fit anymore. And that's uncomfortable because it requires you to let go. Let go of expectations people have of you. Let go of the identity you built just to survive. Let go of the comfort of knowing exactly what tomorrow looks like. Growth feels like loss before it feels like freedom. That's why so many people avoid it. They'd rather feel numb than uncertain. But numbness is not peace. It's just pain without emotion. If you feel lost right now, I want you to hear this clearly. You don't need to have everything figured out. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need motivation. You need honesty. Brutal honesty with yourself. Ask yourself questions you've been avoiding. Am I proud of how I spend my days? Am I living based on my values or just reacting to life? If nothing changed for the next 5 years, would I be okay with that? These questions hurt because they demand responsibility. And responsibility is heavy. It means accepting that no one is coming to save you. Not your parents. Not your friends. Not society. And not motivation videos. Change starts the moment you stop waiting for permission. The moment you decide that feeling lost is no longer acceptable. Not because it makes you weak, but because it makes you invisible to your own potential. You don't need to flip your life upside down overnight. You need one honest step. One decision that aligns with who you want to become, not who you've been. Could be quitting something that drains you. Could be starting something small you've been postponing. Could be cutting distractions. Or simply sitting alone without noise and actually listening to yourself for the first time in years. Silence is uncomfortable because it forces you to confront truth. But it's also where direction is born. The truth is, most people never find themselves because they're too busy trying to fit in. They follow paths that look safe, acceptable, logical. And one day they wake up and realize they traded their time for approval. Don't let that be your story. Feeling lost is not the end. It's the beginning of awareness. And awareness is powerful. Because once you see that something is wrong, you can't unsee it. The only real failure is noticing and still choosing to do nothing. So if you feel lost, don't panic. Don't numb it. Don't scroll it away. Sit with it. Use it. Let it push you. Because that discomfort is proof that there's more for you. And the moment you start moving toward it, even slowly, life starts to feel real again.